Why God Used D.L. Moody by R.A. Torrey. 86 years ago, February 5th, 1837, there was born of poor parents in a humble farmhouse in Northfield, Massachusetts, a little baby boy who was to become the greatest man, as I believe, of his generation or of his century, Dwight L. Moody. After our great generals, great statesmen, great scientists, and great men of letters have passed away and been forgotten, and their work and its helpful influence has come to an end, the work of D.L. Moody will go on in its saving influence, continue and increase, bringing blessing not only to every state in the Union, but to every nation on earth. Yes, it will continue throughout the ages of eternity. My subject is Why God Used D.L. Moody, and I can think of no subject on which I would rather speak, for I shall not seek to glorify Mr. Moody, but the God who by his grace, his entirely unmerited favor, used him so mightily, and the Christ who saved him by his atoning death and resurrection life, and the Holy Spirit who lived in him and wrought through him, and who alone made him the mighty power that he was to the world. Furthermore, I hope to make it clear that the God who used D.L. Moody in his day is just as ready to use you and me in this day, if we, on our part, do what D.L. Moody did, which is what made it possible for God to so abundantly use him. The whole secret of why D.L. Moody was such a mightily used man you will find in Psalm 62:11. God hath spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. I'm glad it does. I'm glad that power did not belong to D.L. Moody. I'm glad that it did not belong to Charles G. Finney. I'm glad that it did not belong to Martin Luther. I am glad that it did not belong to any other Christian man whom God has greatly used in this world's history. Power belongs to God. If D.L. Moody had any power, and he had great power, he got it from God. But God does not give his power arbitrarily. It is true that he gives it to whomever he will, but he wills to give it on certain conditions, which are clearly revealed in his word, and D.L. Moody met those conditions, and God made him the most wonderful preacher of his generation. Yes, I think the most wonderful man of his generation. But how was it that D.L. Moody had that power of God so wondrously manifested in his life? Pondering this question, it seemed to me that there were 7 things in the life of D.L. Moody that accounted for God's using him so largely as he did.